we have 15 or 20 minutes for discussion as well as questions to Professor Kundu. Thank you to you for your illuminating lecture. And I have also some few observations as well as a question to you, but later.
Thank you, sir. It was a very interesting position on a very old issue, perhaps. Okay. My clarification or observation pertains to diversity index that you have spoken about. If I have understood it correctly, please correct me if I am wrong. To me, I have serious qualms about the concept of diversity index. I find it more ornamental. Because when you say that the institution over certain years consistently should reflect that they have been, they should have intake of people from different sections you have identified as per diversity considerations. Now, if we do not have a pool, if the country doesn't create a pool of resources, human resources from different communities, in the end up, to attract from these institutions will resort to reservation or something like that. Otherwise, how they will be able to fulfill the criteria of representation that the index seeks. And I also, that is one clarification. So ultimately, it's indirectly doing the same thing. That's what I think. I don't think I find it ornamental. Secondly, because I also wonder why these.
Ornamental.
Yeah, the term is because effectively it doesn't in the long run. What I wanted to say, I mean, when the institutions are supposed to meet certain diversity criteria to attract funds, but if we do not have supply of those resources, then ultimately they will. So that's why that's one point. The second thing is that I don't understand why such commissions do not recommend. I mean, since you are in that position, I am not. So, to recommend the government, because we do have the opportunity to propose recommendations, whether they are followed or not, that public schools of high quality are taken to rural areas and interest sites. Why not madrasa is equipped well? Why Muslims, rest of the Muslims keep going on those schools? I mean, there is certain automatically institutionalized process which is going on. The fact that there are other minority groups which are doing well means that there is something more than, intentional discrimination. Right? I mean, unless there is a resource transfer at the grassroots, you cannot expect intake at this level. I think that is distorting and has been distorted. That's my observation. Thank you.
We respond to this because these are very specific questions. We can respond. See, I should have given due acknowledgement to this institute. In the committee which proposed the diversity index, Sugato Margins was a member. We worked together for quite some time to work out the index. And you were right in raising this concern that if an institution like Delhi University does not have the applicant, if there are not many among the Muslims who come to 55% level, and that is the cutoff point, right? Then how can Delhi University be blamed? Is that the question that you are raising? IITs or the IIMs, they have the cutoff point, and if there are not many coming from deprived communities, you cannot just discriminate against that. Only show that you have not looked at the index. Exactly. Our index exactly does that. It says what is the pool which is available, and that is the denominator. It is not the entire Muslim population, and not the entire scheduled caste population. How many of them are eligible for your institution? Then that denominator has to be properly defined, and out of that, how many are there? But I understand your concern perfectly. The other point that you are making is a little more, sensitive issue, and you have to really do a lot more research. I have to do a lot more research to be able to say that, but I am just telling you that given certain level of government intervention, if certain communities are not taking their advantage of that because of their social, institutional, personal factors, because of the scriptures, because of their listening to their religious leaders, how can the government be blamed? That's the kind of a thing. First of all, I have a feeling that if there is a poverty syndrome existing for scheduled caste population, for the Muslim population, you can't say, okay, let them remain in poverty syndrome. What can I do? They are in that mindset. I think government has a responsibility over that also. But much more importantly, I want to tell you that the educational outcomes, given the same level of facilities, are worse for the Muslims, are less efficient for the Muslims compared to the Hindus. But the health outcomes are much better for the Muslim household, given the same level of facility. Same district, same kind of facility, a Muslim household benefits much more. This is basically, you may say that there is a male domination within a Muslim household, but nonetheless, the woman would go and take the medical facilities. Whereas education, yes, going outside the household and taking education, there is a problem. And that has to change. Many of the madrasas are being brought under modern education system. We had a discussion. We said, yes, madrasas which are really not following the modern educational systems parameters, I think has to again be brought in. Again, the diversity indexing would come in. There are many madrasas which are admitting non-Muslim students also. So two answers I am giving. One is that the state cannot disown its responsibility and say it is the mindset of the people and let them suffer because of the mindset. That is not the attitude of the state. And secondly, I have a feeling one should understand that why certain outcomes are not coming out in the educational sector, and in health sector if it is coming, what needs to be done to get a better outcome for different communities.
Is there any state level analysis of that, of good performing states and bad performing states? I was asking the district level study, but this state level.
That's a very, very important question that has been raised. We have done state level analysis. The paper is right now with me. Poverty for all the states, for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC Muslims, non-OBC Muslims. But you know what happened? Casually, I made a statement to one of the press fellows that in Gujarat, poverty among Muslims is much less compared to the average Muslim poverty in the country. Poverty among Muslims in rural areas is 7% compared to 52% poverty in Bihar among Muslims. So is in Uttar Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat Muslims, certainly Muslim poverty is much less. Two things. First of all, Muslim poverty is less in different states because of different factors, because of history, because of the kind of employment that they have. Right? And I immediately had to clarify. I gave in the BBC interview. They said that you are saying Muslims are happier in Gujarat compared to other states. I said I didn't say happy or unhappy. I simply said poverty figures as reported, obtained from the NSS data is less. But that was less even before Modi came into power. So all that is good in Gujarat is not because of Modi, all that is bad in Gujarat is not because of Modi. One would have to be really careful in analyzing. But much more important thing that I want to tell you, why we have decided in our meeting on 27th that we will not give the state level figures. Because total sample size for Gujarat in 2011-12 for Muslims is 105. So how these samples are drawn will determine the figure. For OBC Muslims in 2004-5, poverty was 22%. OBC Muslim in Gujarat, 22% of the, because the sample was 7, and some out of the 7, 3 were below poverty line. Now in 2011-12, there are only 5 households, and all the 5 are above poverty line. So poverty has become 0. Please, I got so worried when I looked at the sample size of 2011-12 68th round. I said nothing doing. We will not get into the state level figures because this will be politically used. So my submission is that we will give disaggregation. For some of these states it's possible. The sample size is 400-500. Some of the states, but for Gujarat and many of the smaller states, it would be very, very dangerous to make any statement at the state level for social religious groups. At the national level, we will talk about social religious group because sample size is reasonable and standard errors are manageable. But at the state level, you should not get into the social religious groups at any cost.
Sample was not available or just
No. This is NSS sample size is 5 for OBC Muslims in Gujarat. It was picked up like that. So if 5 households are picked up, if you pick another 5 households, you will get it completely, from 2% to 20%. That really doesn't make sense.
Sir, here.
Yes, please.
So I am happy that to have listened to you, and I could many things that I have observed in Chennai. I could listen it from you, from your version.
Thank you.
I was happy for that. And regarding when you said that the slum population in the large cities have come down, so I was looking for another factor as a reason, the expansion of transport. I was looking for that as a factor, but it is also a factor that even in Chennai, in the name of beautifying Chennai, they evicted most of the slums which were on the banks of the rivers, on the railway tracks. So this eviction, in the name of beautification, right, it brings down the population, slum population. And one other thing which I have observed is, if you know, earlier the small hotels, the workers in the small hotels were found to be local Tamils to people. But now of late, recently I moved out of Chennai, and when I recently visited Chennai, in most hotels the cleaning and other jobs, the serving, these jobs are occupied by Northeast people. So maybe
by
Northeast students, they study there and part time they work in the hotels like that. So maybe the hotel industry needs cheaper labor, and maybe relatively the people who are migrating within Tamil Nadu are a bit costlier. Maybe these people need more some money to support their stay in Chennai, and they are finding it accommodate. That space is accommodating the students of Northeast. And with regard to and I also feel that the urban growth, especially in the larger metro cities, is exclusionary. The very reason why I moved out of Chennai is, anyway I am going to be in academics and government job. But if I am in Chennai, I will be paying half my salary as my rent. So it's better that I move out of Chennai to a smaller town, so that I can survive better. And one other thing is with regard to the Muslim OBCs. We should also take into account who are they? Are they scheduled caste convert to Islam? Say for example, there were Hindu Muslim riots in Tamil Nadu in 1 or 2 instances. But if we see in Tirunelveli when the riots happened, the Muslims live in 2 places in Tirunelveli town. One is Melapalayam, the other is Petai. The one section is an upper caste convert to Muslim, and the other place is a Dalit convert to Islam. So whenever the riot happens, only the Dalit converts to Islam are attacked. So that I have observed there. And one last thing is that, say for example, you are referring to Arvind Panagarian, Jagdish Bhagavati's reports. But my point is, where goes the accountability or maybe academic honesty? Research during the same period, you are bringing out a separate different result, and they are bringing out a very different result. So what happens to the political ideology and its take on academic research?
What's your specific question, please?
Yes, sir.
It's done.
So let's stop.
Yeah, I think
You should stop.
I have given. Yeah, stop.
May I have your name, please?
I am Jerome.
Sure. But let me give a quick reply, or should we have a...
Any other question?
You see, Jerome, you really ask most difficult questions, which is almost beyond the capacity of the presenter. How many of these OBCs are converted or not? We have not gone into that issue. We have just taken the NSS data. What we have done is very simple, try to pool it at the national level and estimate the poverty figures, consumption expenditure, look at the standard error to see whether we can report, and that's what we have done. But I think what you are asking is important. I'm not saying that one should find out why are they so. We are simply stating the fact as observed from that. But certainly you are right. But I'm also sharing your concern. If you look at the demography of India, South more or less has controlled population growth. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, even Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka, population growth rate is under control. Whereas North has not yet done that. So in the next 20 years, I expect there will be migration from north to south, because the labor market in the north is going to be tough. And let me tell you that after especially the two Thakre leaders coming up in Maharashtra, migration to Maharashtra from Bihar and UP has declined. And it's Tamil Nadu where it has gone up. So it's not only the northeast. And I'm happy that strong such sentiments have not come up as yet. But I would think that if this demographic trend continues, this north-south issue will become an important thing. But I entirely agree with you that if persons like you cannot afford to live in Chennai, think about the poor. Access to urban land, access to drinking water, access to sanitation facilities and transport. In Delhi, one bus trip takes 20 rupees. Earlier, somebody had 1,000 rupees will come to Delhi. For 2 months, he or she will be able to survive. Now, if you have 1,000 rupees or even 5,000 rupees in 15 days, it's gone. Looking for jobs is not that easy. That's why if you look at the migration data, you do find that the latest round shows a decline in the percentage of people who are coming to look for jobs. Displaced from agriculture, coming and looking for jobs, that has become difficult. But coming for transfer, coming for better employment, coming for education, that's the kind of migration stream, and that's why percentage of poor among the migrants have declined. Do you know what was Delhi's poverty figure? I'm quoting Delhi's poverty because Delhi is a national capital territory. The database is for the whole state. For Mumbai, you don't have NSS data because Mumbai is not an NSS unit. So for Delhi, population, percentage of people below poverty level was 53% in 1972-73, NSS data. It was slightly higher than overall urban poverty. Delhi had a higher percentage of poverty than all India urban. Now it is 8% only. Delhi has become exclusionary. It is not possible for a poor, where overall urban poverty is still 27-28%. Overall urban poverty. Delhi is only 7%. All metropolitan cities put together, poverty is 12%. So large cities are much more exclusionary. Large cities are attracting global capital. They have to sanitize, they have to attract the foreign direct investment. And that is the reason why you find that the migration to the big cities have declined. Any question? Madam? Mahalaya? Yeah. Yeah. When we have the next.
Thank you for the presentation. A vision for inclusive India. I was wondering that while you have disaggregated across various social groups, why doesn't gender as a disaggregated category come forth in your analysis? While you constructed the diversity index, you did mention about women, but throughout your analysis, there seems to be no disaggregation across gender. So that's one question. Second is, while you're looking at poor performances on education and health, and I was wondering if it's possible to think of violence as an important indicator to show certain exclusionary practices, especially if we look at all kinds of violences against various social groups, including women. Whether it's in the domestic space or in the public space, and then if we could then add up with this kind of analysis to show how there is an overt violence that is perpetrated, which can also lead to a stronger case for making the argument that you're making. Because what happens when, say for instance, Muzaffarnagar happens, and you said perhaps the per capita income in rural areas is not so bad because rural OBC Muslims are not involved in agriculture, but if a violence like targeted violence against Muslims in Muzaffarnagar happens, and if all the if they're not involved in agriculture but lose their livelihood in significant ways, what does it mean? So then if for instance I'll just bring to your notice two important one is the Justice Verma Committee recommendations, and one is prevention of targeted communal violence bill. both of which remain untouched by the parliament, and especially with respect to Justice Varma Committee when it comes to posing state culpability in various in saying state is responsible for perpetrating violence. So how would you respond to some of this?
First of all, the gender desegregation is very much part of the entire analysis that has been done in this report. In this interim report, I just presented the consumption expenditure data. Unfortunately, the NSS data cannot be segregated by gender for household consumption expenditure. It is only Amartya Sen, when we did the West Bengal survey through Pratiti's trust. Then you go to the household and ask who is eating how much. NSS questionnaire cannot ask individual members, right? So the gender discrimination is not, in consumption expenditure is very difficult. But what I have done in my analysis, I take the household below poverty line, all the household below poverty line, and find out among those households who are below poverty line, what is the percentage of men and what is the percentage of women. The households which are headed by women are more likely to be below poverty line. And households which are below poverty line are likely to have a higher female-male ratio. So without bringing in gender in the database, you can still show that the woman poverty is higher than the men's poverty. Because in the household which are below poverty line have a higher female-male ratio. But as far as employment is concerned, access to education and health is concerned, all our data analysis is done. I mean, I told all the members, because we divided the responsibility, I said I want rural, urban, male, female. I do not want both, right? And we have also, as I said, the diversity index that we have proposed. We clearly see that these three dimensions are included in the determination of the diversity value. Yes, violence is one aspect which we have not covered. We have not covered violence against scheduled caste, scheduled tribe population, or against women in different forms. And I think this is an important dimension which should be brought in, but since we are following the terms of reference, which was the Sacha Committee's reference, we have not included that, but certainly, specifically among the minorities, the feeling of insecurity is of prime importance. In fact, when I was in Gujarat talking to the Indira Hirve and others, Darshani Mahadevia, who had prepared the Gujarat report, we did say that unless you bring in the insecurity dimension, the human development doesn't get measured properly, at least in the context of Gujarat at that point of time. I would like to tell you there are problems in doing this also because of the database. I don't know whether you know about the interesting debate between Amartya Sen and John Reyes. Not exactly John Reyes. John Reyes was responding. Amartya Sen said that India is one of the least violent countries if you take the level of income. Most of the African countries have, with the same level of income, has much greater violence. Gender violence is highest. Do you know where? In South Africa, which is something like 18 rapes per 10,000 population. In India, figure is 2. Number 2 country is Sweden. Number 3 is Canada. Right? Obviously, Indian figures are low because there is gross underreporting. And what Amartya Sen was arguing, even if it is 3 times, 4 times, India is somewhat better than the global average. Well, John Reyes was saying, how do you know it is not 10 times? Now, it's a debatable thing. NCRP, the National Crime Record Bureau, we have talked to them. They should improve their database on the specifically violence against gender, but nonetheless, there is gross underestimation of gender violence, but overall murder rate, and the person is dead, and that cannot be underestimated. India reports one of the lowest murder rates in the world. Given the economic deprivation, this certainly is something that when Amartya Sen was writing before 6 years, that West Bengal is comparable to Japan in terms of violence. But unfortunately, that was before 7 years. If you look at the NCPRB data, National Crime Record Bureau statistic, you find West Bengal has shown one of the very high growth rate in violence. Sorry, I'm not trying to talk about this government and that government. I'm talking about overall period of something like 7-8 years. Things in West Bengal have certainly changed for worse as far as overall violence is concerned. But we have to really improve the database as far as the violence is concerned.
I had actually two very specific
Could
questions.
you introduce yourself?
My name is Amitabh.
Yeah.
One, I wanted to ask you on the rural-urban migration data that you gave, and the fact that you mentioned that both with Muslims and with scheduled castes, the migration data into cities has sharply fallen. I was wondering whether this is something to do because migration to the city we know is driven by a large number of factors, and rural poverty being one of them. So is anyway this lack of migration, is it anyway a reflection perhaps of greater prosperity in the places where they are? Or is it a deterrent of the kind we're talking about? You know, migrating to the city in search of jobs is a very expensive option depending on where you're going. So I just wanted to know, and also you were making a distinction between poor migrants and richer migrants within this community. So I was wondering whether the fall in the migration data, what kinds of is it reflecting? Is it reflecting in some cases perhaps greater stability and greater prosperity in the rural sectors itself? Or how far is the other one? And the second question was related to the quite shocking statistics you gave about Delhi's urban poverty index dropping. And the way in which, as you said, the city has entirely excluded the poor. Now, it has invisibilized the poor, certainly, but if you anybody living or being in Delhi knows that there's a large number of very, very poor people there. So I was wondering how much these are the countable poor. How much does domestic labor, for instance, come into this? How much does, because in some sense, yes, it's a city which has pushed out the poor entirely from its center premises. So one is, what is the definition here of Delhi, the territorial definition? But the other is what kind of people become countable within these surveys. Because in any kind of living experience in Delhi, you know that there is large numbers of poor people who are struggling for livelihoods there. And I'm particularly thinking of domestic labor, which is entirely a migrant population coming from places like Bangladesh. What do you know?
First, my apologies for really putting this bluntly that you introduce yourself. So I just heard of you, but I have never been introduced. You see, I should have given that graph. Percentage of migrants, male migrants, to the total urban population. Sorry, it is adult male migrants to the adult male population in the urban areas. In 2007-8, that's the last, compared to 2004, has gone down from 29% to 27%, with huge increase in the rural-urban consumption inequality, rural-urban income inequality. And as I said, multidimensional inequality would be still higher, rural-urban gap. One doesn't expect, if it is a free country, that kind of a decline. There has to be increase in rural-urban migration. From 29%, the decline is not very large, but 2% is gone. What about women? You find percentage of women migration to the urban areas have gone up. And that's precisely because of the factor that you mentioned. There is a huge demand from the middle class in the domestic sector. The middle class is getting linked with the global market. Many of them have jobs in the global companies. They have to adjust the timing of a European company or an American company. And they need somebody to look after the household. And it is possible in India to increase the efficiency of the middle class by giving the option of the cheap domestic help. Now I remember in the meeting in OECD, the divisional officer had invited 20 people. And since I knew him, I was sitting next to him. At 10 o'clock he says, Dr. Kundu, you take care of my guest, I am going. I said, how can you leave? They're all here for you. He said, no, my daughter is alone. And at 10 o'clock, the babysitter will go. I said, just telephone her. He said, my God, this will mean a legal case. I'm paying exorbitant amount for the babysitter. In Delhi, I would just pick up the phone and tell her that you wait for another 2 hours, I will go home, my wife will give some bread and food, aaj hamare ghar mein khaiye, and when someone will say, oh, my boss is very good. This kind of a cheap, subsidized domestic help that we have, and I think this Jayati's analysis shows 65% of the incremental migration of the woman is going into the domestic health sector. That certainly is a factor, but there is a degenerated peripheralization. You talked about